this sentence. This is up on the internet now. You need a password to be able to see it. This is the whole history of Hans de Weers, One Summer, or The Real World, and Tammy, Amy, and Emily, and Mark Hembrow in the Valley, fighting for a movie and 10 years' work and a career. All right? And how it was sabotaged by narcissistic behaviour, which has no sympathy, empathy. It's a disorder. So that's the only way I dealt with it at that time. I'm strong now. I've healed. I'll give you to sum it up a bit.
All right.
Here. It centres around issues that I wish to hold John Hembrow, Ray John Properties and Judy Hembrow accountable for, as the events here in this document had a profound negative and traumatic impact on my life, my work, my daughters, my colleagues and business associates for many years. It also impacted my future for many years after. That's answering your question. This documentation shows evidence, grievances and issues that I wish to have addressed and resolved peacefully with John, Judy and their family, for me, my family and associates, and I'm trying to avoid what may surface in the public eye. All right? In my professional life, I'm about to embark on numerous overseas and local projects and productions that are already attracting media. Now see, media has already started asking what happened to Hans de Weers. I mean, you're here today. You're the first. I've been asked this before. I've sat quietly about it all. I presented this document, which is quite expansive, and it's all ready to be released to the world.
And has John and Judy, have they had a meeting with you at all about this, or had a talk about it?
No.
Okay.
They got given the document. They basically, in a roundabout way, said get lost.
Okay.
But they're used to, like in a world of $600 million companies with a lot of pack of lawyers. There's a lot of lawyers involved here, and Chris Nice represented us. The thing is, when my movie was stolen, and they did this to cover up all their own things.
What do you mean it was stolen?
Well, they stole it because I signed it from Hans and I signed it into Hans and John, because that was the money and the producer.
Yes.
I signed my intellectual copyright, my 10 years work, and all my people and my connections and Shirley and all this, the rest. I was very successful that time in my career, and it was coming our way, And so when I did that, once it was signed up, then they reneged. Then John had to get out of it somehow. As I said, I didn't understand. I know why now. And can
you just explain? I know that it was an affair and all that sort of stuff, but was it because he was on the edge of his marriage finishing that?
I'm not going to speculate about that. That's their private life. All I know is what happened is they went overseas and took my script with them after they'd just wiped me out, and I was left in the valley with 3 little girls getting put on the street. They didn't pay any of the stuff they had to.
But it did have a profound effect.
Oh, absolutely. I used to drive past Ray John Properties at Burley Hedge, where they built all of those places, Treetops Estate. They're all over the place, and I used to start shaking because I had to re-pick everything up with my daughters, and I'd just lost. I'd put a lot into it, so it's a really good story, and people want to make it. They have to own up for everything they've done. Otherwise it'll be all over the world. It'll be all over the world. Tammy and Amy, these people didn't realise that my daughters were going to be famous either. And also, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a writer. I've just directed a movie called Crypto Kids, which is a family movie.
Fantastic.
And it's coming out very soon. I'm a filmmaker. And I've been, forced into a corner with this. I'm addressing the issue. I'm going to give them the opportunity to come to the table and we talk. Well, it's based on real life, real situation. It's really the story is to remind people of how, just to beware, be careful. Be careful of people who are dealing with narcissistic tendencies and natures and disorders. A narcissistic disorder.
What do you think was behind this feeling with John? What would you say that his motivation was to take your livelihood, your work?
Well, this is when we go down the road of when you see, for many years I couldn't understand. I mean, I used to drive past, when that film went down, I was out the valley with 3 little girls and we got put on the street. 5 weeks before we were starting to go, into major production, the company reneged on all the paperwork and on...
Which company?
Ray John Properties.
Okay.
which was a sole private company with John Hembrow and his wife Judy Hembrow.
Why did they renege on going forward?
Well, I believe it was a series of personal mistakes and things that they had got up to and they got themselves in trouble with at the time, and they decided to blame me and try to get out of the deal somehow. So basically it was this: John Hembrow got busted having an affair with Carol White.
Oh, no.
This is a document which we used to try and facilitate a conciliation. In actual fact, there's Hans.
Yeah.
And in this document, it's all the people who are
I
involved.
know, what
in
a
it,
cast and crew.
And all the way from Olivia Newton-John was Shirley Pearce, my agent, and Russell Crowe's agent, and whatever. I was working with on this as well. She had signed these people.
So it was a heavyweight film.
Heavyweight film, yeah. Probably, fantastic. And the first time in Oscar industry. So where I'm at with this is that I'm doing a public announcement of this document.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm tidying up my life and my daughter's life, Tammy, Amy and Emily, and it affects all of us.
Yeah.
I'm tidying up things with that at the moment, and we're looking at making a television documentary about what happened with Hans de Weers, because it's an example of dealing, it's like turned into a story where the story is all based on absolute fact. It it goes into it. There's pretty rough stuff in it. There's stuff where they're trying to say I should be put in a psychiatric ward, and they were gaslighting me, saying there were no signatures, there was no paperwork. Well, let's see, there's signatures. There's signatures everywhere. There's quite a backstory to it. Ray John Property. So I couldn't work out why or any of it. I couldn't. Why would someone destroy my career, my show? Because as you know, when you're about to make something and you've got everybody on board, and I've touted him everywhere. Everyone, what happened to it? It went down. That then they go, why? And then I had to go, and that affected a lot of things because I had 3 little girls. I'd put everything into it. 10 years working on it. It was a big break in lots of ways. And it would have made like 40, 50, $100 million, and we knew it. Everyone knew it. That's why they came up the driveway when we were getting close to it, because the script had been matured, and you understand that more than anybody. And it does, and you just don't get an Oscar-winning producer like that. They don't do it because you're a friend. They don't do it. They do it because of the script, and they know.
No, they do it because they like the script. They like the story.
Yeah.
That's why they.
So there they are. There's John and Judy.
And how long ago did you send?
And then they decided to blame me for their personal problems. And one was an affair when Judy Bye walked into my church, for example. The first thing she said, quite at the top of her voice in front of my pastor, "My husband had an affair." It was quite profound. There's a whole lot of things that happened.
Okay.
Either way, it's in God's hands, and it's in His hands and my hands, and hopefully not the world opinion. Because I definitely don't think it would be very healthy for them, their church, their family, their legacy.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this part of your life. It's been very insightful.
Well, there you go, Christine. Thank you very much.